So yesterday we saw about the try and the catch, right? So inside the try block we are writing the risky code, and inside the catch block we are writing the handling code, right? Inside try block we are writing the risky code. See this arrow. I think someone prepared already. So we are inside try block we are writing risky code, and inside the catch block we are writing the handling code, right? Now what is the finally? Okay, another thing is here, that is the finally. So why we are writing finally here? So inside the finally we are writing the cleanup code. Okay, so inside the finally we are only writing the cleanup code. This is easy only. Every time finally block will be executed. If exception will come or exception will not come, every time finally block will be executed. So why we are writing the finally block? For writing the cleanup code. So inside the try block we are writing risky code, inside the catch block we are writing handling code, and inside the finally block we are writing the cleanup code. Suppose we will take the example, we will come to the Eclipse. Okay, and here what we are doing, simply I am writing one main method here. Okay, main method I am writing, and inside that what I am writing is, suppose here I am writing first system.out. Okay, yesterday's program we will take first I am one I am writing. After that I will copy this thing, paste it multiple times. Okay, here also 2 I am writing, then 3, then 4, then 5, and here I am writing 6. Okay, now if I run this one, so what will be the output? Will get it? Yes, what will be the output? Will get it 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, right? If I run this one, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 will be print on the console. Suppose if I remove this thing and if I write here 100 divided by 50 means, now also 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? We are getting on the console again. See, if I run this one, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 we are getting on the console. But now if I write like that, so error or exception? Exception, unwanted event or unexpected event, we will get it here. And what it will be do, it will disturb our normal of the program. Now only one will be print, but 3 4 5 6 will not print, because whenever exception is came, that time what JVM will do first, it will abnormally terminate the program there only, right? JVM will abnormally terminate the program there only. Then the method in which exception is came, that method will create an object. Inside that object it will add 3 things, right? The method in which exception is kept, that method will create an object. Okay, so this is the thing. First we have here, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? Now we have an exception here. Exception means this is unexpected or unwanted event. This is our normal flow we are printing before, that is 1 2 3 4 5 6. But now unwanted or unexpected event is came. Now what it will do, it will disturb our normal flow of the program. Means after, if this exception is came here, after that 3 4 5 6 it will be not print. Why? Whenever exception is came, that time what JVM will do first, JVM will abnormally terminate the program here only. After that, the method in which exception is came, in which method we got the exception. Now what is the name of this method? That is the main method. Inside the main method we got the exception. So this method will create an object like that. It will create an object like that. See, it will create an object like that. And inside that object, it will add 3 things. So which are that 3 things? Exception, exception name, then description, and then stack, right? Exception name, description, and the stack trace. Now we have in JVM abnormally terminated program here as well. Main method also created that object. Now what is the another step? Now JVM will ask the question to the main method, right? JVM will ask the question to the main method, because exception is came into the main method only, right? Exception is came into the main method. So JVM will ask question to the main method. So do you handling the exception or not? JVM will ask the question to this main method, do you handling the exception or not? So here any try catch you are seeing here? Any try catch we are seeing here? No, right? So we are not handling the exception here. What this method will say? No, I'm not handling the exception. If this method is not handling the exception, so what will happen? If this method is not handling the exception, so JVM will give this object. JVM will give this object to the default exception handler. Okay, JVM will give this object to the default exception handler, and default exception handler will print that object. Okay, default exception handler will print that object, and whatever things we have here, that print we will get it on the console. If I run this one, see, so all the things we are getting on the console. So this is our, what is this one? Exception name. So we have first thing, that is the exception name. After that, description. So which is our description here? Divide by 0. Another thing we have, there is stack trace. So which is our stack trace here? Add basic programs dot test dot main. This is the basic program, means my package, test means, and main means method. Okay, and which line we are getting the exception? On 9th line. So we are getting everything here. Now if I want to handle this exception, how we will handle that? Using try and the catch. So I will write simple try here. Inside a try block, what we are writing? Risky code. So with the, which is the risky code? This is the risky code. Maybe in this line exception will come. So I am writing this line into the try block. After that, with the try, we will always write one catch. I will write here catch. Catch block I am writing. And inside the catch block, you can write here parent class, or you can write the exception class which is coming there inside the try block. So I am writing here arithmetic exception. Okay. After that, here simple, I print anything system.out, and here suppose I am printing here is the hello, or we'll print it here too. Okay. Now if I run this one, so what we will get it on the console? 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? If I run this one, so 1 2 3 and 4 5 6 we are getting on the console. Suppose after that I am writing anything system.out, and here I am writing 8. So now 8 will be print or not? No. Why? If I run this one, see, 1 2 3 then 4 5 6, 8 is not printing. Why it is not printing? JVM will come here, it will print 1. After that, here it will be, see, here we are getting the exception, and we are saying to the JVM, like whenever exception is coming to this line, you can directly come into the catch block. So it will be ignore this line, it will not print this 8. After that, 3 4 and 5 6 it will be print on the console, right? Because exception is coming, that time it will not print this line, it will ignore this line. So try to write any line, do not write any line after the exception line. Okay, try to do not write any line after the exception line, because it will be not print. If you want to write, you can write after the catch block, it will be print always. Okay, after catch you have to write this line. After this line you are writing into the catch block. So if exception is come into this line, so that line will not print. Okay, now another thing is that suppose I am writing here 50, now it will be print or not? 1, then what it will be print? Then again 2, no. 2 will be print or not? No. So when this line will be print, if this inside a try block, if we have any exception, that time only catch block will be executed. If we don't have any exception, that time catch block will not execute. Okay, if I run this one, so here 1 2 8 3 4 5 6 we are getting on the console. Now another thing is that we saw this thing to yesterday only, right? The try and the catch block. Now we will see the finally block. So I am writing here, suppose finally. Okay, finally block I am writing, and as I told you, finally block always execute, right? Finally block always execute. If our exception is occur or exception is not there, that time only our finally block will be executed. So suppose I am writing here, that is the finally. Now if I run this one, so finally will be execute or not? This time 8 or 2 it will be execute. Both the things will be execute, or only one thing? 8 2 and the finally also. I will make it some another thing here. Okay, so now what will be the output? First 1, then 8, then 2 again, then finally, then 3 4 5 6. Run this one. See? 1 10 8, finally, then 3 4 5 6, right? Suppose now we are getting the exception here. Now what it will be print? 1, then this line. Why? Because a exception is came here, so it will be directly come into the catch block. Now 2 will be print or not? Yes, 2 will be print. After that finally, yes, finally will print. If exception is occur or exception is not occur, every time finally block will be executed. In some cases finally block will be not executed. Which are that some cases? So I will show you that some cases. Then we performing system.exit method, that time our finally block will not execute. Okay, when the finally block will not execute, first reason is that when we are performing system.exit, that time our finally block will be not execute. If inside the final block, or if we are getting any error or any exception we are getting here, due to that we are that causes to process to abort it, that time also our finally block will be final block will not execute. If we have an error inside the final block as well, so that time also our final block will not execute. And after that, death of thread, that time also our finally block will not execute. What is the thread and all, we will see inside the next concept. Tomorrow only we are seeing this thread. Okay, so first thing is that when we perform system.execute exit, that time our final block will not execute. If causing the particular error that causes the process to abort it, that time also final block will not execute. If you have error inside the final block only, so that time also our final block will not execute. And when we have death of thread, that time also our final block will not execute. Other than that, our final block will be always execute. Now what is the use of the final block? We are seeing that I show you like to write a cleanup code, we are writing the finally. So what is meant by cleanup code? Suppose I will not show you how to read a file, how to write a file, because you will be confused, and I don't want to confuse you. Okay, simple I am writing here. I will give you one example here. Okay, suppose I have one file, and I open that file here and there. Okay, I'm simply writing the inside the string. Okay, I'm not writing any file reader or file writer, anything I'm not writing. Simply I'm writing here system.out.println, and I'm writing here file open. Okay, after that here I'm writing something, and after that system dot I'm writing, and here I'm writing file close. Suppose we have some sensitive data inside our file. Okay, so first we open that file, and after that simple we are doing here some operation. Suppose I'm writing here 100 divided by 50. Okay, some operation we are doing, and after that operation we are simply closing that file. Okay, simply first we are open the file, we are doing some operation, and we are closing that file, because whenever we open the file, that file needs to be closed. If that file remain open, our data will be leaked, right? If that file remain open, so anyone can leak our data, and inside our file suppose some sensitive data is there, so that not the good thing, right? That is not the good thing. That's why we are closing the file every time. Okay, now if I run this one, so what will be the output we are getting on the console? First one we will get it on the console, right? After that file open, we will get it on the console. After that here 100 divided by 50, how much? 2. 2 we will get it on the console. After that here file close. It will go into the catch block. It will go into the catch block or not? No, right? After that here finally also it will be print on the console. Then 3, 4, 5, 6 it will be print on the console. If I run this one, see here file open, and after that some operation, and file also close, and finally also executing it. Suppose now here 100 divided by 0 I am writing. Now 1 it will be print. After that file open. After that 100 divided by 0. Then file close, it will be print or not? It will close the file or not? No, right? It will be not close the file, and it will be directly come into the catch block. And what it will be print? It will be print on the console, right? But see here, we open the file, right? We open the file, but this time if exception is came here, that time our file is not closing here, right? We open the file, but exception is came here, so file is not closing here. Means high chances our data will be leak here, right? There is a high chances our data will be leak. If I run this one, see here, our file remain open here, right? File remain open, then 2 is printing, and after that finally is printing. Our file is not closing here. To close the file, what we will do here, simply if every time your file will be open, and if every time we want to close the file, that thing we will write into the finally block. Okay, because finally block will be execute all the time. It will be execute, if exception is came or exception will not came, our finally block will be execute all the time. See here, now if I run this one, if exception is came, that time only our finally block will be execute and file will be closed. If exception is not occur here, suppose I am writing here 50, that time also our file will be closed. See, file close, file close. Okay, to write this like code like database close or file close, for that much things we are writing only the inside the finally. To write any cleanup code, to closing the file, to close the database connection, all the things we are writing into the finally block, because whatever things we are open, if exception will come, that thing will be not closed, right? So we have to close that file. So all the things we will write into the finally block, because finally block will be executed all the times. If exception will come or exception will not come, our finally block will be executed all the time. So that's like our cleanup code we are writing inside the finally block. Okay. Okay, this is the use of our finally. So inside the finally we are only writing the cleanup code, like closing the file or closing the database connection. Anything we are writing into the finally block. Okay, so finally are only used to write a cleanup code. Try block we are using for the risky code. Catch block we are using for the yes handling code, and inside the finally we are writing only the cleanup code. Anyone have any doubt till here inside the finally block? Anyone have any doubt? Yes or no? Anyone have any doubt? Yes, bro? No? Okay. Now see, we write here that is try, catch, and the finally. Can we write try directly with the finally? Yes. Yes or no? Can we able to write try with the finally? Yes. Yes. You can run this one. What it is printing? One. Then file open. Then two it is printing. File close it is printing. Then again file close. Then again finally it is printing. Then 3, 4, 5, 6 it is printing on the console. Now suppose exception is came. Exception is came. Now what it will be print? File open, then file close, finally then 3, 4, 5, 6 it will be print or not? One, then file open, file close, then finally, but our 3, 4, 5, 6 is not printing. Why it is not printing? Because exception is came here, right? But that exception we are not handling anywhere. We are writing any catch block here? No, right? So if you are not writing any alternative way, so that time what it will do? PVM will only abnormally terminate the program, and it will not handling any exception. We can able to try with the finally, but that time our if exception is came into the try block, that time our program will be abnormally terminate here only. Okay, so that is the thing, that is the try and the finally. So anyone have any doubt till here? Anyone have any doubt? After finally, I think we have to we'll try to write here. Yes. No, no, with the try only we can able to write. Okay, so the try only we can able to write the catch block. Okay, so now this is the thing. Now another thing is that suppose see, if I remove this thing from here, this is all about try and the catch block. Suppose I'm writing here system.out, and suppose in this method only I have got the error. Okay, in this method only we got the exception. So which method will create an object this time? First JVM will terminate the program, and after that it will create an object. Which method will create an object this time? Main method. Why? Because the exception is given to the main method. That's why main method will create an exception, right? Create an object. After that, suppose here we have one method, public void m1. So inside this method we have this exception. I don't have exception now here, I have exception here. Now which method will create an exception, create an object now? M1 method. Why? Because inside the M1 method we have an exception. The method in which exception is came, that method only create an object, right? The method in which exception is came, that method only create an object. Now another thing is that see, if I want to call that method, how we will call that? New paste, and here obj, and then we will write here obj dot m1, right? Obj dot m1 I'm writing, and here I'm writing system dot out anything, and here I'm writing hello. Now what it will be print on the console? Hello will be print or not? Yes or no? So hello is not printing on the console. Why? Because here we have an exception. To handle this exception, what we will write? Try catch, right? So see what is happening here. Now here is the exception, right? So what GVM will do first? GVM will abnormally terminate the program there only, and after that the method in which exception is came, that method will create an object. Which method will create an object now? M1 method, because exception is came into the M1 method, right? So this M1 method will create an object. After that GVM will ask to this method, you are handling the exception or not? So this time it is handling the exception. This method is handling the exception or not? No. So what this method will say? Now this method will not handling the exception. So what JVM will do? JVM will pass that object to the default exception handler, and default exception handler will simply print that object. So this is the thing, right? This is the thing we saw till now. So I will write here try. After that, inside a try block, I am writing simply is the control V. Okay. Now if I run this one, so can hello will be print? Yes or no? If I run this one, so hello will be print on the console. Okay. Now another thing is that suppose if I remove this try from here, okay, now what is the thing will be happen? So if exception is came, again I am repeating, if exception is came here, so what that time it will be do? JVM will abnormally terminate the program there only, means where in this line abnormally terminate the program. After that what JVM will do? JVM will create an object, not JVM will create an object, the method in which exception is came, that method will create an object. In which method we have exception here? Inside the M1 method. M1 method will create an object. Inside that object, it will add three things. Which are the three things? Exception name, description, and another one is the stack trace. After that, JVM will ask to that method, like, do you handling the exception or not? So this time it is handling the exception or not? No, it is not handling the exception. So what JVM will do? It will give that object to the default exception handler or not? Yes? Yes? Yes or no? No, so it will not happen now, because what JVM will do now, if exception is not handled here, JVM will directly come into the caller method. Okay, so this method, from where we are calling this method? From the main method. So it will be come to the main method, and it will be JVM will ask to this method again, do you handling the exception or not? To whom it will be called? To whom JVM will ask? The caller method. The caller method JVM will ask, do you handling the exception or not? So here also we are not handling the exception, right? Here also we are not handling the exception. So what this method, main method will say again? No. So we are not handling the exception here. So it will give this object now to the default exception handler. First it will be asked method in which exception is kept. After that it will be asked to the caller method. If that caller method is also not handling the exception, that time only that JVM will give that object to the default exception handler, and default exception handler will print that. So first time we handle the exception here. Now from here also JVM will ask, no? Here also JVM will ask like, do you handling the exception or not? We will try to write try class block with this caller method. So I will write here try, and simply with the try, inside a try I am writing this thing inside here. Okay, and after that simple I am writing here is a catch block. Okay, inside the catch block I am writing here anything like arithmetic exception. Now if I run this one, so hello will be print or not? Yes or no? See, hello is printing on the console, because you can handle the exception here, the method in which exception is come. Otherwise you can handle that exception inside the caller method as well. Okay, either you can handle the exception here inside the M1 method only, or you can handle the exception inside the caller method as well. Okay, so that is this, like suppose if you have error inside the another method, so that time the JVM will ask to that method first, and after that it will ask for the exception inside the caller method as well. Okay, either we can handle the exception here only, or we can handle the exception into the caller method as well. Okay, so till now anyone have any doubt? Anyone have any doubt till now? Yes or no? No doubt? Anyone have any doubt? Yes or no? No? Can I ask questions? Okay. No, I will not ask. Okay. So now another thing is that, see, till now what we saw, try block we saw, then catch block we saw, and after that finally block also we saw. Now what is meant by throw? Okay, what is meant by throw? So till now what we saw, if exception is came, GVM is abnormally terminate the program there only. After that, the method in which exception is came, that method will create an object. Right? After that, JVM will ask to that method, do you handling the exception or not? And after that, that JVM will give that object to the another. Right? Same like that we saw till now. Now, what is the thing? Suppose if you are writing any program here, I will write some simple program here. Okay, see, I'm writing simple one program, that is the if else program. Okay, so I will create one integer. Okay, I'm creating one integer with the name age equals to, I'm giving here age, that is the 18. Okay, and I'm writing here if age is greater than 18, that time only I'm writing here system.out, and here I'm writing there is the eligible. Okay, Otherwise, what I am writing here, else I am writing and system dot out I am writing, and here I am writing not eligible. First I am writing eligible, and after that I am writing not eligible. I am writing age is greater than equals to 18. Now if I run this one, so what it will be print on the console? Eligible or not is eligible? Eligible, right? If else we saw, inside if else what it will do? It will check the condition only. If this condition is true, then where it will be go? If this condition is true, where it will be go? If block. And when this condition is false, it will be go into the else block, right? If I run this one, so where it will be go now? Into the if block, and eligible is printing on the console. Now if age is not greater than equals to 18, so what it will be do now? Not eligible, it is printing on the console. This is the basic things we are writing, right? But suppose now I want to throw the exception. I don't want to throw this name only, this is string only, right? This not eligible is string only. This time I want to throw the exception. So how we will throw that? By ourselves I want to throw the exception. So how we will throw that? If age is less than 18, so I want to throw one exception. So how we will throw that? Simple, we need to use throw keyword here. Okay? Simple, we need to use throw keyword. And what is the syntax of the throw keyword? We have to write here throw, then new, and here any exception name we have to write. Okay, and the semicolon. Right. Throw, then new, and exception name we have to write. You can able to throw the any exception from now. Okay, so now we have to throw the exception from here. How we will throw that? Throw, then new exception name, right? Any exception. So arithmetic exception I'm writing here. Okay. Now if I run this one, so what it will be print on the console? I'm writing here. There is not eligible. Okay, not eligible. I'm writing here. If I run this one, what it will be print on the console? Not eligible only, or exception also it will be there. See, it is throwing the exception. Which exception it is throwing now? Arithmetic exception. And what description we are getting here? There is the not eligible, right? If you want to throw the exception by yourself, that time simple we are using the throw keyword here. Okay, that time simple you can use here throw keyword. And what is the syntax? Simple syntax only. You have tried in only the throw keyword, then new and exception name. So what is the use of the new keyword here? Create an object. For creating an object, we are using the new keyword, right? So why we are using the new keyword here? So before that I told you, like if any exception is came, so that time what GVM will do? GVM will abnormally terminate the program, and the method in which exception is came, that method will be create an object. This time that method is not creating an object. Who is creating an object? By ourselves we are creating the object. Okay, by ourselves we are creating an object, and inside that object we are adding the three things. So which are three things we will add into the object? First is the exception name. So exception name we are adding from here. So which exception name we are adding here? Arithmetic exception. After that, description. So here adding description from here, not eligible. And after that, stack trace it will be add directly from here. Okay. So basic program, paste, and the main. So this is the stack trace we are adding from the here. By ourselves only. Now we are creating an object, and after that we are giving to the JVM. JVM will ask the question here again, handling the exception or not. If you are not handling, it will be directly give that object to the default exception handler. Default exception handler is printing that object here only. Okay, if you want to throw the exception explicitly, that time we are simply using the throw keyword here. Okay, but that is not the use of the throw keyword. Multiple times we are using the throw keyword for creating a customized exception. Okay, if you see, arithmetic exception is there. Before that we saw one example, that is the puncture, real life example. If bike got punctured, that is also exception. If raining is there, that is also exception, right? Another exception, anyone? If you don't want to come to the search, which exception you will give? Fever. Fever is not exception. Which exception you will give? You don't have any exception, you want to come every day. Huh? Bike puncture is done, bro. Another huh? Yes. Health issues is exception or error? Bombast, no, bro. That is the PG, no water. Huh? No water exception will become, right? So what we will do? We will try to create an exception here. That is the C. If I create here no, I want to throw the no water exception. So that is played inside the Java or not? No water exception is present here or not? No, right? So we will try to create by ourselves. Okay. I want to create a no water exception. So how we will create that? So if you want to create a customized exception, simply you need to create first a class. So which exception you want to create? No, then water exception. Okay. This is genuine exception we are creating. Right. So no water exception we are creating here. After that, what we need to do? First we need to create a class. After that, here we need to extend the any exception. Parent class you can extend, or any child class also you can extend. So here we have many child classes, or this parent class also you can extend, but I am extending this time, that is the runtime exception. Okay, so I will extend here, that is the runtime exception. Either you can extend here runtime or compile time by your wish only. Okay, so this time I am extending here, that is the runtime exception. After that, here we need to create a constructor. So how we will create a constructor? Public, and after that no water. Okay, simple I am writing here. This is no water. After that, some description if you want to provide, you can write here directly. This is the super. Which is the super class here? Runtime exception. Right. Super means super, and the parenthesis what it will be do? It will call the parent class constructor. Right? It will be directly called the parent class constructor. And suppose if you want to do anything, if you want to provide any message, you can pass from here message. Okay, and here also I will pass this message. Now you will be understand. See, so here we have created one exception, that is the no water exception. Okay, no water exception it will be created. Okay, so exception also we will write, then it will be exception, and here also I am writing exception. So which exception we have created here? There is a no water exception. Now I want to throw this exception. So how we will create that? Simple throw new, and here I will write our exception. That is the which exception we have? No water exception. No water exception, right? Water exception is coming, and after the description, anything you can write. Water is not coming. Okay, and here also we will create genuine one. Water equal, if water boolean will write. If water is there, false. Water is not there, right? Yes or no? Yes. Water. Okay. If water is there, means here we will write. And after that, what we will write? If water is not there, water is not coming. We will give the exception. Okay. If I run this once, what will be print? What is the value of the boolean? What is the value of the water here? False. So what it will be print? Which exception you are getting here? No water exception. Water is not coming. Is the cool thing, right? No water exception we have created here, and what description we are giving here? Water is not coming. By ourselves we have created this exception. Inside the exception, what we did? By ourselves we have created this object. Inside that object we add three things. Which are the three things we have added? First one is the exception name. So which is our exception now? No water exception. After that, which is the description here? Water is not coming. And after that, stack trace it will be add directly here. Okay, so if you want to handle this exception also, or you can handle by yourself as well. Okay, if you want to handle this exception, you can handle it also with the help of try and the catch block. Okay, so that is all about our exception. And here, if water is true means but. So today, water is true or false? For many people it is false. Okay, for many people it is false, and for many people it is true. Okay, so this is water is not coming. So which way exception we have created here today? There is a no water exception. Okay, so throw keyword, if you want to throw the exception explicitly, or if you want to create a customized exception, that time simple we are using the throw keyword. Okay, and how, what is the syntax for the throw keyword? Throw the new and the exception name, and the semicolon we have to give. And if you want to create a customized exception, how we will create that? First we need to create a class, then class name, anything you can give it here. After that, we have to extend any exception. Parent class also you can create, or any runtime exception, or any exception you can give it from here. Inside from this hierarchy, you can any exception you can extend here. Okay. After that, you have to create one constructor. Inside the constructor, you have to write a super. Super, why I wrote here? because I want to call that parent class constructor. That's why I wrote here super and the parenthesis. Inside this message, we are only passing our, that is the description. Okay, description we are passing into the message. Okay, this is the all about our throw keyword as well. Anyone have any doubt here? Anyone have any doubt? How to create an exception? I want different exception for everyone. Okay, today's assignment is that why you don't want to come to the search exception. Okay, you have to come, but you have to write exception as well. From means whenever you will try to give the exception, we will note that things. Okay, so this is the thing. After that, last thing is that is the throws keyword. Right? We saw try, then we saw catch, we saw finally as well. Throw also we saw, and after that, at last we have a throws. So these are easy only. What is meant by throws? Suppose we have an exception here. Now I will remove these things from here. I will remove this thing from here. Suppose we have except we have one method here. Is the public void m1. Okay, so we have here one method that is the public void m1. Inside that we have one exception. So this is system.out, and here we have one exception. That is the 100 divided by 0 we have. Okay, now here if exception is coming here, so what JVM will do? JVM will come here and JVM will ask to this method. Now it will be what it will do? Terminate the program there only. After that, it will when the method in which exception is came, that method will create an object, and after that JVM will ask to this method like, do you handle the exception or not? After that, which method it will be asked? To the caller method as well, right? To caller method as well, it will be asked like, do you handle the exception or not? Both the methods is not handling the exception. That time only what it will do? JVM will give that object to the default exception handler, and default exception handler will simply print that object, right? Now another thing is that, see, suppose we have one exception here. Suppose I am writing here, I want to throw one exception by myself only. So I am throwing the exception with the help of throw keyword. Throw new, and I am writing any exception from here. So this time we are giving the compile time exception. So any exception, that is the IO exception already. IO exception. Okay, and this compile time exception we have to handle inside the compile time only, otherwise our program will not run. Right. So here one exception is coming. Okay, inside this line one exception is coming, but I don't want to handle this exception here inside the same one method. I can handle, right? We can handle this exception if I write try and catch block here only. So we can handle this exception here only, right? If I write, see, try block, inside try block, if I write here this line, this throw keyword, we can easily handle this exception. But this time I don't want to handle this exception here. Whoever person will call this m1 method, I want to handle that exception by that person only. So what we will do for that, we will use here simple throws keyword. Okay, simple we are using here throws keyword. So how to use the throws keyword? Simple we need to write here, there is a throws, and after that there is the exception name we are writing. So which exception we want to throw? That is the IO exception. Which exception is coming here? That is the IO exception. Now whoever person will call this exception, that person has to handle this exception first. After that only it is he will be he will be able to use this method. Otherwise he will be not able to use this method. Every time it will be give you the error. Suppose I am writing here, that is the system.out.println, and here I am writing hello. See, now I want to call this method. How we call that? New phase. Then here I am writing here, that is the object, and with the help of object only I want to call this m1 method. So how we will call that? Can we able to call this method m1 here? Can we able to call this here? See, it is giving the error. If I remove this from here, that error will be gone, but that error will become here. Why it is coming here? Because here from here we are throwing one exception, that is the IO exception. If you want to use this method, what we need to do? We have to handle this exception first, but I don't want to handle the exception here only. Where I want to handle that exception? Whoever person will call this method, that person I want to handle this exception. Okay, by that person I want to handle this exception. So for that what we will do? We will use simply here throws keyword, and after that simply we will use here, that is the exception name. Whichever exception is coming here, exception we have to write here. Simple meaning is that if you want to bypass our exception, okay, simple meaning is that if you want to bypass our exception, that time simply we are using here, that is the throws keyword. Okay, if you want to bypass our exception, that time simply we are using the throws keyword. Now we are writing here throws keyword, no? So whichever method or whichever person will call this method, that person has to handle the exception first. After that only he can uh, able to use this method. Otherwise, it will not able to use this method. After that, we are learning the multi-threading concept and all. That time you will be easily understand. There are multiple exceptions we have to handle first. So that time you will be easily understand what is the use of throws keyword. Throws keyword is only used if you want to bypass an object, bypass an exception. Suppose exception is coming in this method, but I don't want to handle that exception here. Whichever person is calling this method, I want to handle that exception by that person only. That time we are using here only the throws keyword. Okay. Now if I want to call this method, what we need to do? First we need to handle the exception here only. Okay. If I handle the exception here only, if I run this one, now I can able to print that things. But it exception is coming here because I wrote here e dot print status. Okay. If I remove this thing, if I write here system dot out, and if I write here the hello, so again hello will be print on the console. See two times. Hello and the hello is printed on the console. If you want to bypass your exception, that time simple you can use the throws keyword. So that is all about our throws keyword as well. And throws keyword, if you throws keyword is used to declare the checked exception only. We cannot use for the unchecked exception only, because unchecked exception is occur because of the programmer's fault. Okay, that's why we are not using here throws keyword for the unchecked exception. We are using throws keyword for the checked exception only, because that is you, it means checked exception is not coming by the programmer fault alone, and unchecked exception is only coming for the programmer fault. Suppose if you take the arithmetic example, arithmetic exception example, that will become because of the programmer's faults. Null pointer exception also coming from the programmer's faults only, right? But all the checked exception, whatever checked exception we have, that is the IO exception, class not found exception, then no such method found exception. This all this exception will not of the programmer's fault, right? So that's why we are using here only the throws keyword for the checked exception. So these are the all the things we saw. First we saw that is a try block. Another one we saw catch block. Another finally then throw, and after that throws we saw. So what is the use of try block? Risky code, right? What is the use of catch block? What is the use of finally? What is the use of throw keyword? To throw the exception explicitly, or if you want to create a customized exception, that time we are creating the throw. After that throws, to bypass the exception, we are using the throws keyword. Okay, if you don't want to handle the exception there only, whoever person will call that method, that person you, if you want to handle the exception, that time you are using the throws keyword. Okay, and this is all about our exception handling. So anyone have any doubt till here? Is that the exception handling? Anyone have any doubt? Yes or no? No doubt. Okay, so that's it for today, and exception handling is also over here. Now today's assignment is that